Hi everyone, we are back for part 4 of the sensory integration assessment series, and I'm starting the vestibular system today. And as I was creating these slides for the vestibular system, I really realized how many different layers there are to the vestibular system. When you really take a look at the system, it just influences so many different parts of the nervous system, and that's why I think it just influences so many different areas of function. And it really took me a lot of time to really, pull out all of the different pieces. Today we're going to concentrate on the vestibular modulation difficulties. So we're going to just focus on that piece. But it's pretty complicated just when you look at all of the different parts of the nervous system that are involved in vestibular processing, all the different pathways, the vestibular receptors themselves. You have the reticular formation in there, which is why you have the regulation of your arousal level, which is why it's associated with vestibular processing. But there's just so much to it. But if you're interested in learning more, I would really recommend, I did take that USC sensory integration course, and that really explained all of it really well, just all of those nervous system connections. But this is more about assessing the vestibular system. So the first part I'm going to go over is really if a child is over-responsive to movement. So these are the children that have gravitational insecurity right here, or just aversions to movement. So just to go over the vestibular system, the receptors are in your inner ear, right? They are the semicircular canals and the otolith organs that are responding to gravity and how your head position is with regards to gravity. So children who are over responsive to movement have a difficult time with something that's going on in these receptors. And so when you're assessing them, you're really just looking at, how is the child tolerating the movement on a swing? And what are the child's reactions when they are placed on a therapy ball? And that's usually the easiest way to do it. You put them on the therapy ball, and you kind of see what their reactions are. If a child is truly gravitationally insecure, they will hold on for dear life to you when you place them on the therapy ball because their feet are off the ground. And then do they tolerate going backwards on the therapy ball? Can you tilt them backwards? They will not like it if they are gravitationally insecure. And that's where you see the babies that are having difficulties with diaper changes and things like that. They might be gravitationally insecure. And, the last thing you really want to check, because we are in a school-based system, is how is the child accessing the playground equipment? Are they able to go up the playground structure and then go down the slide? Are they able to step on and off the curbs that will give them access to the playground equipment? If they are really struggling with that, or you're seeing that they're really not confident in doing all of those motor movements, then they might be gravitationally insecure. The last thing that I wanted to mention for that is it is very, very important for you to gather information either from the sensory processing measure or the sensory profile, especially in regards to this area, because it'll provide a lot of great information, especially the home SPM and sensory profile. It'll provide a lot of great information about if the child is over responsive to movement. Usually there are items in there that talk about, like, are they fearful of movement? Are they fearful of going on the escalator? Do they like swings? Do they easily like go on and off curbs and things like that? So that's really important information to gather from the parent. Okay, so that is over responsivity to movement, and basically it is just mostly we see gravitational insecurity. Aversion to movement is not very common, so you might see that, but it's not a very common thing that we will see. The next thing is under responsiveness to movement. That is associated more with their arousal level. So that's the modulation difficulty, right? If they're having difficulty with their arousal level, that's a modulation problem. And when you're looking at under responsiveness to movement, I really did want to tell you that it is the reticular formation that is being affected by that. So vestibular information goes up to the reticular formation, and the reticular formation regulates the states of arousal. So when you're seeing that a child is under responsive to vestibular input or movement, they may show signs of difficulty with their arousal level. So that's sort of the connection between the vestibular system and like arousal and attention level, because it's like, well, why would those two things be connected? Well, it's because of this reticular formation connection. And what observations might you see while you are observing the child in the classroom during your assessment? So these are things that you want to take a look at that may indicate that a child is having difficulty with their arousal level or their attention level. So there are sort of two different patterns that you will see, but they are both due to an under responsiveness to movement. So they might appear tired and fatigued all the time, or have just a lower activity level. And so these kids are the ones that they're not getting enough movement, and it's just not activating really the reticular formation, activating that arousal level. So they just appear tired. They are not doing anything about it. They're just tired. And I think it's really important too to try activities during your assessment. So were there activities that really helped the child get to their optimal level of arousal during the assessment? So you really want to try and play around with different, movement activities, or different seating, different things like that, so that you can kind of see, oh, wow, like, the child sitting on, a wiggle seat really did help them pay attention better. And you want to be able to see that in your assessment. If they are this lower activity level, can you do something to increase that state of arousal, whether it be something more intense, like, really swinging them a lot, so that movement increases their arousal level, or if it's just something little like a wiggle seat or like a wobble stool or something like that. And then the other type of student that you might see who are also under responsive to movement are the ones that the teachers are saying that they can't sit still and they just are moving around all the time. They have this high activity level. Those are the kids that they are under responsive to movement, but in their nervous system, they're the ones that are seeking it out. So they're trying to help themselves with their own arousal level. And that's why the teachers are like, whoa, this kid is all over the place. But in this case, we want to see, are there solutions for the classroom that help them get that type of movement input that they need, but that is a little less disturbing to the classroom itself and to the teacher. So those might be our sensory strategies, whether it be that the child needs to like take a break, or run, take a lap and run around and then come back really quick so that they've gotten some movement in, or if it is like the wobble seat or the wiggle cushion, or the Zoomer rocker. That's a great one, the rocking chair type of seat, so that they can get that movement that they need to attend, but in a more functional way. And overall, these are the kids that they just have poor attention to task. So, whether it's that they have a low activity level or a high activity level, they are both having a hard time paying attention, which is the functional problem. So that's what we're really trying to help, for them to be able to access and participate in their classroom, is what are we going to provide them so that they are able to attend to task in a much better way and help to regulate themselves in a more functional way. So that is the end of the vestibular modulation part of the assessment series. Next week, we will talk more about vestibular discrimination registration difficulties, which will go into more like postural control and ocular motor difficulties, things like that. So I hope you all have a great week, and I will be on next week again. Thanks.